Every time you fight, it feels like it's, you know, a bigger moment, a bigger opportunity. I wonder, kind of coming into this fight, like, do you feel that way? Does this feel like a special moment in your career?
No, I just feel like it's the same, you know. I feel like I never try to like hype things up, you know. I just try to like be very calm and stuff like that. I know I'm getting more, you know, attention and a little bit more exposure and promotion and stuff, but you know, I don't think it's like a big moment, you know. I think the big moment will be, you know, when I'm, you know, champion.
Yeah, no question.
That would be the biggest moment, I think.
Did get the really nice commercial though, right? Was that kind of cool? That was a nice little Modelo commercial they put together for you.
Yeah, the Modelo commercial was awesome. It was really, I was flattered to be a part of it, you know, because the people that they've had are great people. I mean, Brian Ortega, Stipe, they're like, you know, two of my favorite fighters, and so it was like really honored to be part of that.
No doubt. I wonder what you feel, because I mean, I think of in any division, you know, we look at fighters, we say that could be a future champion. This person could be a future champion.
Right.
But I feel like when people talk about you, they say she will be a future champion.
Yeah.
Do you hear that talk, and how does that make you feel? Because I gotta imagine it's you know, kind of confidence building, but it's a lot of pressure too.
You know, I think it is a lot of pressure, but I feel like, you know, I don't really think about it. You know, like I just kind of like go about my day, and I think about, you know, winning, and I think about, you know, getting the job done. And, you know, people can say what they want, but I have to back it up. So I got to put in the work, and I got to, you know, I got to be disciplined. And that's really, you know, where my mind is at all the time. You know, I'm like, just don't worry about that stuff. You know, I'm flattered. Thank you guys for saying those things about me, but you know, I want to like, you know, I'm like focused on being, I'm focused on being what you think I need, you know, what you believe I am. Yeah. You know, so. I
was going to ask. I mean, every fighter wants to be champion. I mean, that's why you're in it, right?
Right.
But do you feel it's inevitable?
Yeah, I do feel that way. You know, I felt like that, you know, going into the Ultimate Fighter. I felt like that prior to the Ultimate Fighter. I just thought, you know, I need to get into the Ultimate Fighter so that I can get into the UFC, because my coaches were talking about me prior to the Ultimate Fighter. They were telling the matchmakers, hey, this is a girl that, you know, we believe is the best in the world, and you guys should pick her up. And they were not sold on me yet, you know. They're like, I only had 3 fights, I understood, you know, but they were like, she's, you know, a world-class wrestler. She's going to dominate the division. And, you know, I guess they just didn't pick up on it, and it wasn't until, you know, obviously I won the show that they're like, okay, you know, I think this is somebody that, and it's like I've constantly been proving myself, and that's fine. That's how it's been my whole life, you know. I've been proving myself since I was a young girl, you know, in a male-dominated sport. And when men were telling me that I shouldn't be wrestling, that I should be doing tennis, and you know, although I was beating their sons, you know, I'm like, what? He should be doing tennis, you know. Put that kid in basketball. No, I'm just kidding. Not that basketball is like, you know, like I'm just saying, like wrestling's just not for him apparently.
Well, I mean, you are still so early in your career, but as you said, I mean, you've proven you're a world championship level athlete. I mean, do you feel like, because there's not a lot of steps in front of you to the title, I mean, do you feel like it's time? I mean, you're ready for that championship type fight, or do you feel like there's still time for you to develop a little bit? I
feel like I'm ready. You know, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like, you know, the more cage time I get, obviously, you know, it's the better for me. You know, I that's what was really a blessing about the Ultimate Fighter. Like, I was like, hey, this is fine. I'll prove myself to the Ultimate Fighter because this is good. Like, I get a few fights right at one after the other, you know, and I was able to get more cage time. And now I'm just like, I just think, oh, it's like a wrestling mat, but just caged up.
Nice. What do you think about this matchup with Nina? I mean, she's been on quite the run. You know, she had some struggles early on, but what do you think about, you know, kind of where she is in her game right now, and how this match plays out?
You know, I think she's a great opponent. You know, I think all the strawweights are, you know, I think my whole weight class, I don't think there's anybody who are like, you know, not so great. I think all of them are great, you know, and I think it's a stacked division. You know, I think it's the most stacked in the women's division. And, you know, I think Nina's a great opponent, and she uses her tools well. She's very technical, and, you know, I look forward to sharing the cage with her.
Yeah, I'm sure you were watching the recent title fight very closely. What did you think about Jessica's performance and how she got that victory?
Well, I thought it was a great fight up until the slam, you know. Well, I mean, saying like, it was over. So we're like, oh darn it, sad, you know, it's over. But yeah, I thought it was a great fight. I thought Jessica did well. She implemented her game plan. You know, she wasn't, you know, letting, you know, even though she was getting, you know, I thought she was losing, you know. I think everybody else did.
Yeah, she was.
but you know, she came out. I think that was the second round, right? Mm-hmm. Second round, and she came guns a-blazing, and she was like, you know, I'm losing, and I'm getting outclassed, and I need to implement my game plan and just get in this girl's face, and she did just that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a great fight, and I think they represented the strawweight division well because I mean that slam, I'm sure it was all over, you know, Instagram, and it was giving women's MMA more attention.
Yeah. Could she pick you up and slam you like that?
No.
What do you think? It's interesting because, you know, I think a lot of people are looking at this as kind of a #1 contender fight, but if Rose comes back, we don't really know. I mean, what do you do? A, do you think she should come back? Do you think she will come back? And if she does, do you think she would deserve a rematch ahead of maybe you getting a title shot?
Ultimately, I never say that someone should ever retire or stay or whatever. You know, I think that's up to them. You know, I'm not going to ever put, you know, my like I don't have an opinion on those things because it's up to you. Like if your heart's in it, then do it, you know. And I think she's an amazing fighter. Like I love watching Rose fight. She's truly a really great mixed martial artist, and you know, I hope she does stay because I think, you know, she's a really amazing fighter, like I said. And but if her heart's not in it, then, you know, we won't see the same Rose Namajunas, you know. So if that's the case, then yeah, I hope. But I can understand, you know, I know these camps and this sport is really difficult. People don't understand that. They can say whatever they want on, you know, social media or whatever, but they don't know what it's like to live this life. It's a very tough one. You know, a lot of your relationships, you know, it takes its toll on your relationships, on your family, you know, your family life. And it's all about fighting all the time, you know, whether or not it's physically, it's mentally as well, you know. So it's a very taxing sport, and I can understand, you know, where she's been doing this for what? Probably 10 years. I mean, she's been doing this for quite some time. So ultimately she's a veteran, you know. So that's why she's so great. That's why she was a champion. And you know, ultimately it's up to her. If she wants that rematch, you know, I think she deserves it, you know. So I'll wait. You know, I don't mind. I'll fight whoever. Like I said, I've never turned down any of the fights that they've given me. I've always asked for fights. I even asked for, you know, this long layoff for me. I asked for a fight at 125 because they weren't giving me anybody at 115, and I was like, you know what, I won't mind, you know, fighting at 125. I won't cut any weight. It'll be great, you know. I'll just go out there and just focus on my fight because I won't have to cut, like, I'll literally like cut like maybe a pound or two.
You think that's something that's in your future, maybe?
Yeah, for sure. My coaches say, like, you need to gain a little bit more muscle, you know, because I walk around, you know, like 129. And so they're like, you might want to gain a little more muscle because I'm sure these girls walk around heavier than 129. Mm-hmm. So they're like, you might want to gain some muscle. And I think I did even from my last camp, but now I'm leaning down. So I think I gained muscle, but now my body fat percentage is definitely, I'm going to check it today on my Vita Good scale.
Well done.
Plug in there.
Well done. Well done. Well, what do you think? I mean, I think I said we're all looking at this as kind of a #1 contender fight. Is that the way you're looking at that? I mean, is this your ticket to a title shot?
I do believe, you know, this is that. You know, I think it is a #1 title. How would you even say
contender
that?
Fight?
Contender fight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
#1 contender fight.
You guys have all these terms, you know. But I do believe that. But, you know, like I said, if it doesn't happen, then that's fine. I have options, you know. I'm sure there's other girls that want to fight me. So we'll see.
No doubt. Yeah. But when you play this one out in your head, how do you think you get it done? Is this a dominant one? Is this a test that goes to the limit? I mean, how does this go? You
know, I don't believe that this is going to be a close fight. You know, I believe that, you know, I'm going to dominate, you know, like I've dominated all my other fights, and I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to let this girl breathe, you know. I respect her. I've trained for her. I don't think that she's a low-level fighter. I think she's a world-class fighter, but I just think I'm going to overwhelm her, and you know, from start to finish. And you know, I've prepared extremely hard for this fight, and you know, there's no reason why I shouldn't get my hand raised on Saturday.